I just try to direct them in the right place or help them understand stuff. So that's basically what this is. So yeah. So
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I do have so on that note, I do have a question then. I watched your pre-market overview
yep.
that you just did a little bit ago, and I'm also been watching SPX pretty closely. And one of the questions I have for you is that, it looked like we were really put dominant, and there was a whole like it just, showed us that that's the direction it was heading. But I don't know. I was wanting to know what your opinion now, looking at the GammaEdge web app, because I'm
Uh,
looking at that now, and I don't know. I just don't
okay.
I don't think it's telling the same story as before. But I also want your
Okay.
opinion.
Yeah.
So
All right. Let me pull it up and I'll share my screen and we'll look at it. So let's see. Share. Go. Share. Okay. Are you looking at zero DT, I guess?
yeah, I'm in zero T DT right now. I'm on puts. Looks like my puts are going through right now, but I'm also kind of nervous because I'm like, I know we have those two gap to fills on either side, and it's my first time ever playing SPX. So I was wanting to know, yeah, what you're looking at.
Gotcha. So personally for me, like I'm just gonna say like I don't trade much until like 10-15-ish. I try to at least get a range established. Um, that's just my personal preference because there's just a lot of volatility. Like I talked about, there's gonna be a lot of volatility at the open, and there's a lot of orders transacting and people trying to figure out where everybody's gonna be at. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I wait until I get a defined range kind of set and defined area where I can manage my risk against, right? So personally for me, what I would look for right now, yes, it says we're call dominated. So obviously probably what's happened, I'd have to run the net stack command. I would assume a significant amount of puts have closed at the open, right? That's what I would, that just in my mind, I have no idea without looking at anything. That's what I'm going to say probably happened. The other thing that I was kind of projecting in my pre-market strategy session is we still have a significant amount of in the money calls below us. So us going down without a large amount of put targeting or put volume coming in, like a big move down, may be difficult, right? So that's why I said, and 5,800 is really important. So for me, like if I'm going to short the market, like I would be waiting until we got under 5,800 and then we got a retest and then we look at the vol-m command and we see the slopes are trending down. So that means market participants are positioning lower, right? So that gives me the best risk reward. At the moment, I don't have a good risk reward because we're above 5,800 holding, which is a really important level, right? And then we only have 58.25 to the upside. But basically, we're just going above and below VWAP at the moment. So market participants are pretty much balanced and pretty much flat. So really nobody's winning the battle at the moment. So that's how I look at it. Here, 58.05, we still have, see this level here, we still have a significant amount of in the money calls below us at 58.05, right? So that's going to be supportive. That's right where we bounced at. I think the low was 58,
Oh,
03.
four.
Yeah, 04, right? So this here. So what I would have to see is we'd have to see price go below this, and these are in the money puts or in the money calls. I'd like if those went OTM and we went below 57.90, I would say 57.90, but 5800 and we start living and we got a retest and then failed, that's when I would short the market, right? Because that gives me the best risk reward. Right now, I can show you, I can share my other screen, but we're just kind of, and now actually, if it says we're call dominated, then a significant amount of in the money puts have probably closed. Now it's going to be difficult to move up, but we could move up towards 58.25 right here and then get some sort of stalling and failure. But if you're in SPX puts from 58.10 or somewhere around in there and you move up towards 58.25, that's not going to feel very good, right? On a zero DT basis. So that's
Yeah.
what I would say. Now, you know, we're stuck here. Let me change the share here. All right, we're kind of stuck at the moment. You see SPX here. Let me make this bigger. yeah, we're kind of stuck at the moment. This is what I drew this morning is we didn't fail here, which gives me kind of pause of shorting, right? And if we fail this and then start driving down through this 5800, I'd like to see a retest and fail, and then that's when I would look to short the market. But we're stuck between 5800 and 5825. And you see this is the open here. So we've kind of created this what I call a box or this range, and until something changes, we're just going to be stuck within this overall box, and we've just made shot back and forth because nobody's really winning the battle at the moment. We're just oscillating around VWAP. So I really,
Okay.
I really have no good risk reward. I really have no edge at the moment in for what
Okay.
I do in my trading, right? So that's why I just don't come in and say we're put dominated, MTM's down, I'm going to just short the market, right? I was trying to get that across this morning is we could have a violent bounce back up towards 58.25, and if you just came in and said I'm going to short the market, like you could get blown out of the water, right? So that's why I wait for price to kind of tell me what's going on, right? And I look for price patterns. Like, so yesterday, this was my entry, and right here, and I'm going to do a trade recap. But this bounce back here and failure, this is a great risk reward, right? This is what I want. I want the market to say, okay, it's weak. We got this quick bounce back, and then the volume, all the slopes were pointing down, everything looked down. The market's probably going to be weaker. This is where I want to enter, right? And that was even what 1250. Um, so, and it's hard to catch these moves here, and I was looking for this move down and a retest for me to get in, but I didn't get it, right? So that's I didn't take the trade. You could have taken this trade, but for me, this is my ideal setup. We break a key level down through 5800, we retest, and then we fail, and this is where I want to enter. This is my highest risk reward probability there. So for me, it would be a breakdown here, 5800, bounce back up, start to fail, like a wick up, couple candles maybe, and then I would look to short here because actually VWAP will probably be trending down here, so that'd give me a good stop area, and then whatever plays out. But if vol M is not indicating that we're going to move down, which I usually like to wait until 10:30 ish to see kind of how the slopes are looking, then I would not be shorting. It's difficult to go long here too because 58.25 is the top of this range I'm looking at, top of the box. Like we could just bounce up and fail. So really, it's kind of a no win situation for me at the moment on any type of zero DT trading there. So
Okay. So I further going further when I watch your pre-market and mark out those levels, I just need to be a little bit more patient. And then I know what to do. It's just I was like, I don't know, dude. You really sold me on like all this short stuff. And then I was like, and then I updated the web app, and I was like, this is looking kind of bullish. And I was just thinking, I was eh, like, and then I saw VIX, and VIX was up, and it had two gaps up and below. And then I was like, nah, like this could go either way. And like I kind of just put an entry on a put, but going further, I'm just gonna try to make the entries on that high that you marked out and see if there's a failure swing up. And
yeah, and
then
that's I mean, like I said, that's the whole basis of being a profitable trader is waiting and waiting and waiting for the highest risk reward. Now, that entry yesterday for me, it could have easily failed, right? We could have pulled back down a little bit, consolidated, and then we could have went back through this level, right? But that's okay. That's just a very small loss for me, right? Instead of trying to chase areas where I have no clue. And you'll notice I don't trade. I call this the middle of no man's land. There's
mhm.
no good entry for me at the moment to trade against, right? Because if let's just say I wanted to go long versus VWAP, then it could fail VWAP, come all the way down here. I get stopped out, and then it bounces all the way back up here, right? So I want to trade around the highest gamma delta levels and our scripts that are overlaid. That gives me the highest probability, the best risk reward, right? For me, we're just in the middle of a bunch of junk and a bunch of noise, and we honestly we could stay within this range, we could bounce back and forth, we could stay within this overall range, I want to see a definitive break like we saw yesterday with these large adjustment bars, right? That the rest of this is just kind of noise. But when you see these large bars, that's definitive price action. People are moving a lot of volume, a lot of contracts, right? I mean, now was this a definitive break? It's really early. Most likely, this was just opening range orders, and then you see it bounce right back up. So this is really just kind of noise to me, and what you technically define as the opening range. So we're just setting that range for the day so far. And then I want to see a break of this range either direction, like a definitive break. So
Okay, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I
yeah,
appreciate you explaining all that to me.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, I know. And that's the problem is like everything was put dominated, everything's bearish, and people come in and they're like, oh, the market has to go down. It doesn't have to go down, right? It's just telling you what the conditions are at the moment as we head into the day. So I've set my expectation that it's going to be very difficult to move up. But I also said, I think that I don't know necessarily that we're going to have a large move down because the significant amount of in the money calls we have below us, right? We had two huge days of moves. It is very unlikely that you get another multi-day sell-off, right? I mean, now we could, I have no idea, but usually that you'll get a balance day. You'll get a sell-off day, some sort of balance day, and then if you get another sell-off day. So Monday was the sell-off day, Tuesday was a balance day, Wednesday was a sell-off day. So then more than likely we could pull back down, but more than likely we're probably not going to break the ranges of the previous day. So that's why I'm like, okay, we'll kind of see how everything plays out. And that's why I'll be a lot more patient today and wait for a significant break, retest, best risk reward.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and try that moving forward.
Yeah. And
Uh,
just draw the levels out and only trade around the levels, right? And that's what I do. Like I wait, and I wait for some patterns, right? So I wait for some sort of like breakdown of a consolidation area, right? And then that gives me the best opportunity, or a move back up, a retest from everything that's pointing down. Then I get a retest. That's when you're going to highly likelihood get the failure. Same thing with everything pointing up, right? If VWAP is pointing up and we moved up here and then we got a pullback down towards VWAP and we're call dominated, then that's the best opportunity to go long, right? And be supportive, right? That just gives you the best risk reward. So
okay.
yeah, right now it's flat, right? VWAP's just flat. It's we have no direction at the moment, right? It's it's straight across. So for me, it's like, and then we could even go to SPY, right? VWAP's flat. We did fail, right? And now we're getting some moving averages pointing down, but really this is just, unless we get a definitive break of this low here, we're just kind of stuck back and forth and we're just chopping around, right? So what most likely would be for me would be a definitive break of this low, and then you kind of see some sort of dealer adjustment, like 3 or 4 bars really quickly down, basically is what, what I would look for.
So
So
you said a break of that level that you just marked out on SPY. And what my question is like a dealer adjustment. What do you mean by that? I always hear you always talk about that kind of stuff, and I'm just
yeah,
like, I think I know
yeah.
what you're talking about, but I'm not for sure.
Yeah, so market participants will either come in with calls or puts, right? So if I open a put, I'm opening negative delta on my side, right? So I'm long the put. I have negative delta. The dealer is short that put because they have to provide liquidity to the market, right? That's all they're doing. They're not trying to make money. They're just providing liquidity, right? So they're short that put. So they're positive delta, right, in their book. So they have to hedge that put. So the only way they can hedge that positive delta is by either selling futures or doing something negative delta, which would be selling, right? That's the only way they can get their book back to flat. Because when I open it, I go negative, the dealer goes positive, they want to get back to zero. So they have to add something that's a negative, right? So whatever that is, however they do that, selling, opening, ES options, whatever, they have multiple ways to do that. So when you have a large transaction of a large market participant opening a large number of puts, that's a large negative delta hitting the market, right? And the dealer is positive delta, so they have to hedge that. So that usually equals selling. And then you'll get a dealer adjustment bar, right? And the loss of those dealer adjustment bars, that hedging that is occurring, or large opening, mechanical opening or closing of contracts, usually occurs around key levels, like we saw yesterday at 5,800. Most likely, there was a lot of people long 5,800 from who knows what expiry. But once they drop below 5,800, there's sell orders layered there, right? And you'll just see it boom, 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 boom. And you'll see those large adjustments. That's how you get those big range bars, right? People are sitting there with market orders or open orders, and then those orders just continue to get filled, and that gives you those large range expansion bars.
Okay, so let me just think about this correctly. So the dealer's goal is to be negative, or not negative, zero on delta.
Flat. The dealer's goal is always to be flat. They don't make money. They just provide liquidity. That is all they do. Yeah.
What's the point of being a dealer if you don't make money?
Well, they do make money, right? Because of order flows and all kinds of stuff. I'm just saying in general terms, they're not trying to sell you a put at 50 cents and then try to make a penny on it. You see what I'm saying? That's not how they work. Their whole goal is to provide liquidity for the market. They make money through or through commissions and all kinds of other ways, right? That's how they make money. So that's what they do. They're not looking to make money on buying and selling the actual contracts, basically, is what I'm saying.
What if I were to trade, like I never thought about this, but what if I was to trade and only try to be zero on delta, but the minute I have like an identifying move to one side, I close out the other position.
You can basically, that's a straddle. I mean,
That's a
there's
straddle.
there's straddle, diagonal. There's lots of options, strategies to do that. Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. Basically, so like you could buy a put and then you could sell a put higher. Basically, and set that up. So then once your put goes in your direction, you're offsetting with debits or credits. I mean, there's multiple things you can do that way that are actually neutral, that are neutral to bearish. But if price goes sideways, you still make money, right? Right now, if you're just strictly long a put options contract and price keeps going sideways up until 1 o'clock, your theta decay is just like off the edge, right? So that's why you put on some sort of option strategy that's neutral to bearish. So even if price goes sideways, you're theta negative or theta positive, you can still make money. Your contract still grows in intrinsic value, basically. So
Okay, that's good to know.
yeah. Now you can't be long and short the same contract in a brokerage account. So you can't be long a put and short, like long a put and long a call in the same account. It usually is not going to let you do that.
Huh. Yeah, it seems like we are just moving sideways.
Yeah, and this is just within the overall volatility, right? I mean, we could go back up here and test the top of this range at 58.17, go back down here. I mean, we're just chopping around, you know what I'm saying? I mean, basically. So, and this is where most people get chopped up if you're trading directional options, right? It's just like, okay, oh my gosh, I'm long a put, it's bouncing, okay, I'm underwater, I'm going to get out, and then it comes all the way back down and just goes back and forth. Now, I will say we're holding 5,800 from the open, which is a positive look, right? We're holding 5805. If you look at the web app, that's the bottom of transition on 0 DTE. So, I mean, it's important that we're holding that at least to, into the 10:30 hour, but, we'll see how everything else plays out. So, Yeah, see, we're just chopping around VWAP. You know what I'm saying? You get these long wicks, and so yeah. So
Yeah, I wish I was just a little bit more patient on my put. I'm just waiting for the second I'm positive. I'm not like hugely negative either. I'm just, you know.
yeah. So anyway, all right. Hope that helps.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
All right, awesome, cool. All right, I'm going to jump off since nobody else is coming. So.
All right, man.